find me in the club, holla at your ape. You want her in the game, calling out my name. All up in the bake, lounging, chilling, drinking. They call me Lincoln, Abraham. I make the band, just made some plans to make some bands. On my apes is spam, Breaking Bad, pay the gas and lamp and some Jamaican sand. This is for my bored apes, from the floor apes to the Fortraits, to the Space Jams, to my hip hop fam. Pushing back they court date, 2390. You can find me in the BAYC shining. Vibing, climbing, grinding, rhyming. Everything I do, it's all about timing. Doing ape shit, going ape shit. Doing ape shit, going ape shit. Doing ape shit, going ape shit. Doing ape shit, going ape shit.
Hey Timbo, let the shit roll. I'ma make it rain crypto on this strip pole. Yeah, the flow going dummy, I'ma get slow. All I know about money is to get mo. With the time to miss, Tesla drive itself, but I'm charging it. The Hellcat is a charge. Whose car is this? Tip Jenkins, the valet at eat just for parking it. Here's your car, sir. Dodging paparazzi, I'm targeted. Banana clip, like boop, boop, boop. Sauced up at the yacht club, going ape shit, like ooh, ooh. It's Rarible with my entourage, hell squatty, hot as the Mojave. Going up, she the gang, we the gang. We don't need Wi-Fi to be spotty. Now Safari.
Welcome into another edition of NFT Live. It's your boy Nifty Q. I'm here with Ronan the Collector, Crypto Buffalo. We got the Red Village waiting in the wings. We got a lot of NFT news to get to, and I'm juiced, man. Good song there. Nice request there, Ronan. How you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Shout out to Ape in Production for the intro. I think, like, if you guys don't know, that's a Timbaland beat, right? So what do you say about that? Like, the Bored Apes are going crazy. There's so much news, man. Post Malone joined the club. There's the Red Village is getting, the whitelist just went live a couple of minutes ago. We're going to have some excellent information on that project for you guys. That's a cool one, dude. I'm really looking forward to that drop. And there's so much more. There's some drama. We got some drama, but what can you expect when Dez Bryant is in the space, right?
Mm-hmm. I guess. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hopefully Dez isn't watching. We had -9 minutes since the whitelist went live for the Red Village. We have that team waiting in the wings. It's going to be an awesome conversation. Love the gaming sector, of course. So we are happy to have those teams on. I want to give a quick shout out to people in the chat. Matt Wolf is in the house. We're going to touch on Matt Wolf and Joe Fear here in a second, and we're going to touch on their latest release. Jason Moffitt, Mylene, Hash Rhymes, Llama, Donamo, Ronan the Collector's in the house, of course, David Tatera. Everybody's yelling out our vibe, our tribe. Guys, this is NFT Live. We're bringing you the NFT news from around the industry, putting it into an episode and having a good time. We do have our trusty director here who makes everything you see around us happen. That is going to be Crypto Buffalo. Buffalo, how are you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm ready for a great show, you guys. We got some great guests. There's a lot of energy in the space. I'm very excited for you guys to cover it today on NFT Live. And if you guys are brand new and watching, this is the first of 2 episodes of NFT Live this week. We do it on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Oh, man. All right, well, we will get started here. I want to give a quick shout out. You see the sponsors down in the corner. You see some scheduled episodes down in the corner as well. Art Start Now is down there currently, but we have some sponsors rolling. Appreciate you guys supporting us as we try to support the NFT industry, man. So we will get started here. I want to give another shout out to Joe Fear, Matt Wolf. Their episode of Hustle and Flowchart just went live on the network, Ronan. You told me you watched the episode. I'm going to go over their intro really quick for like 5 seconds, but I want to get your take on their first episode ever.
Alrighty. We're in a new place. What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast with your boys, Matt Wolf and Joe Fear.
Well, we're in the same place. We're trying to find a location in Ladz City right now.
Yes. Why are we doing that, Matt?
Right now we're stuck in San Diego.
Oh, it's horrible here.
So but real estate's hard to find in Ladz City, so we're working on it right now.
Yeah.
So we had Matt Wolf, Joe Fear, Hustle and Flowchart. That's happening every Monday. Ronan, what do you think about the first one, man?
Excellent episode. What I've really enjoyed was the fact that, like, during this episode, what they're doing is obviously they're introducing themselves to the Ladz City network and to our audience. But at the same time, like, while doing that, they're actually dropping some pretty dope alpha, man. They actually talk a little bit about some really cool projects. They talk about getting in early on MetaFactory. They talk a little bit about ENS. They talk about how that happened. What are some other projects that might, have the same type of net effect, right? So I think that, like, I enjoyed the content. I already have an alarm set. I'm looking forward to next week, man. Those two, I appreciate the energy, man. And I'm really looking forward to having them part of, like, Ladz City and what we're doing, building forward. And dude, yeah, hopefully we can do something with them in collaboration. That'd be a lot of fun.
No, I'd love to. I think they're trying to get us on the show one time, Ronan, so that they could, like, they have their own, obviously, audio podcasts and things like this outside of Ladz City. So I think we can definitely do some collaborations. Speaking of collabs here, if it comes in, look at Kagi right here on the screen. He is live right now. Don't go over there just yet. Obviously, we are live, so don't leave us. But Kagi is also live. It's cool to see Ladz doing big things here in the industry. So that is going to be our start for today. Run down really quick. We got a lot of Bored Ape stuff, man. Me and Ronan were talking before the episode. We have Bored Ape on like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Even like 2 to 3 weeks ago, people were like, what the hell is Bored Ape doing? All these other projects are pumping. What's happening to Bored Ape? And it's a whole nother fucking world now. And it's just absolutely crazy. We'll touch on some Bored Ape stuff. We'll hit on Personal Corner. He talked about Dez. CloneX is delaying their launch. MetaKrew, BallerzNFT, Rarible, MiamiCoin, a little bit of Decentraland, and Wax. I know people have been dying for us to talk about Wax for a little bit, Ronan.
Yeah, I was actually just about to shout out to like Wax and I see you XP, I see you YJ. Yeah, Wax pumped and Wax pumped pretty hard. I'm really interested in like, you know, look, I keep saying it. Anytime I say flow, like I make sure I mention Wax at the same time. I think that both of them are providing really easy, adoptable experiences that when you consider like we're trying to expand this space is really important to the mass adoption, right? So shout out to Wax, shout out to everybody who's got a bag of Wax. Look, there's some cool projects. When it comes to gaming, I think like that's going to be important. Like the ease of use when it comes to transactions. I think it's going to be 2022 is going to be a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, people are making a ton of money on Wax too. I'm not all about the money here in this space. Of course, we're trying for the education, we're trying for adoption, but Wax is, I feel like, super underrated when it comes to the returns, the yield, the token itself. WaxP's up 2,000% on the year. It's going under the radar for sure. But we will get started for today's episode. I'm going to let Ronan hit the CTA real quick. Excited to have everybody in the house. Again, we have Red Village. We will touch on the NFT weekly news after this. But man, I'm stoked. Maybe it's the Bored Ape hype for me, but I'm definitely excited to talk to the Red Village team here after this.
Yeah, man. Look, the Red Village, I was really excited to talk to the team, really looking forward to go over that project. I think it's like really going to be a long-term play, right? I think like you get in early, you hold like your champions, and then you see what like the ecosystem turns into. They've got a lot of partnerships that they've been announcing over the past few days, and a lot of really cool stuff going on with that. So, so the call to action, guys, you know what it is. This is NFT Live. We're here every Tuesday and Friday, and the thing that helps the most is when you guys take a couple of seconds, you hit the thumbs up, you like the video, and subscribing if you really enjoy the content. And then lastly, we do ask, share that link. If you can copy and paste it into one community that you're part of, it goes a really long way. We get some more people in here. People get to see the video, get to see the alpha. Shout out to everybody at NFT NYC who said thank you to Q and I, got to like come up and meet us and say, look, we appreciate the show because it put us on some like really cool projects. We got involved. We found some other communities. We found some really fun, opportunities in the space. And because of that, like, we're winning. So we love to like get more people involved, get them part of the conversation. Yeah, man, that's that. We appreciate you guys so much. Shout out.
Absolutely, man. That gives us the juice to continue doing what we're doing too. Honestly, like when you guys came up to us and we're saying, hey, we love the show. Well, we love doing this every week. So without further ado, we will get to our interview of the week. The Red Village, they have a whitelisting that's live now. We are going to roll this trailer, this dope trailer of the project, and then we will get to the team. So excited to roll this trailer.
At night, I lie awake, consumed by visions of heavy iron gates. Blood runs like rivers through the cold streets. Broken bodies hang from lengths of rope. Only pain is known here. The air is heavy with death. I feel
right, guys, we have the Red Village team here in the house. We have Matan, and hopefully I get this right, Matan Adato and Brendan Robb. They are both going to be laying it down for us today, man. Great trailer, by the way. How are you guys doing here today?
Good morning.
Stoked.
This afternoon,
Very happy.
I should say. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's a real good morning, man. It's like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. where you guys are. So thank you for getting up right and early for us. Good morning. And just tell us a little bit about what you got going on. Of course, the whitelist is live. You guys were saying you're not even on the whitelist, so it was a super exclusive one that you had to be in the Discord and active and all these things. But just drop the knowledge on what the Red Village is about, and we'll see where it goes.
100%, man. Yeah, the whitelist, look, it went live, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, 19 minutes ago, who's counting? And yeah, it's really exciting to see that. And obviously we've got, so much popping off in the background, and we're stoked to be here and chatting to you guys as well, and showing off what we've got. But yeah, basically, the Red Village, as a bit of an overview, popping onto the website there, that's set up and good to go. And really what we've created, I think, is it's a spectator blood sport. It's the ultimate sort of fighting game for the blockchain. It's a play to earn game. And what we've really tried to do, is fuse this dark fantasy mechanic, or sort of story, with the blockchain. And I think there was a big hole in the space. There's a lot of really cool projects out there, but I think that for us growing up, a RuneScape dude myself, and the team has a lot of Diablo and whatever it is, we like that sort of space, and we didn't see it we didn't see it represented in the NFT space just quite yet, and that's really where we've come to with this. So yeah, I mean, it's, as you can see there, we've got the roadmap, we've got the website, everything's live, and it's looking really good.
Yeah, I think the project is one that I'm super excited about. The fact that you guys really have this well thought out roadmap, and also the fact that you've got this game mechanic that I think that is already kind of proven right in the space. But besides that, you're kind of giving your own spin, right? You guys kind of described it to me the first time we chatted as being very similar to Zed Run. You have this first drop, you've got the champions that are being dropped. There's, I believe it's 5,000 purebloods, right? So can you guys speak a little bit about the structure and kind of the approach of not only your first drop, but kind of what this game and this experience looks like, in totality?
Go for it, Tom.
Yeah, sure. I was saying, maybe, Brandon, do you want to cover the drop side, and then I'm happy to touch on the game itself.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, the way our drops work, and yeah, that's a really good point, Ronan. In terms of the Z sort of stuff, and that's one of the things that we came to originally, was we looked at projects like Zed Run, and super successful, have done really well. And we sort of borrowed that mechanic. We thought, what's the way that we can take this dark fantasy, take fighting, take action, and use that sort of Zed Run, very similar sort of style of game, and build something really great. So that's a really good point. But then, yeah, in terms of the first drop, we've got exactly 5,000 pure blood champions. They're the Genesis bloodline, and they are, essentially the first generation of champions within the Red Village. And then, we have sort of future drops planned, but this is where we're really focusing on at the moment. And then Matan, if you want to talk about the game itself.
For sure. So yeah, so like Brendan was saying, our first focus initially is to, what we're really be focusing in terms of this current output is the art itself, which you were just flicking through, and we're really happy with where it's landed. In the meantime, in the background, we've got the game in the final stages now, that we're also really proud of. And the idea, like Brendan was saying, is that it is a similar Z vibe. So it is a couple of fighters that go in. We're going to have tournament settings. So it'll be, 8 people will join a tournament. It'll be 1-on-1 until one victor leaves, and they keep the winnings. Now, in terms of the input of the players themselves, or the battle masters, they will choose their champion according to depending on the fight, and then they'll choose a battle style. So there'll be defensive, attacking, aggressive, defensive, accurate, or balanced. And depending on that style, their character's behavior will change. And so that's really where you start to learn about your character. Now, initially, that's going to be really the only decisions that you have to make. And then we're going to add, levels of complexity so that there's more for you to learn and understand. And I think that's what's really important about getting into it early with your character, is you can learn a lot more when it's a bit more clear cut initially. Because we've certainly got, quite a few levels of complexity that we're going to add. And that's simply within the arena. Looking towards the future, once we, leave that space, then there's a whole other sector that we might not sure if we're allowed to touch on it at this point. But yeah, we're just focusing on what's going to be happening in the arena for the upcoming element in the roadmap, which is about 6 weeks out.
I'm excited for the gameplay, obviously, to release. Like, that's where we're at with NFT gaming, right? Where we're seeing kind of the roadmap released, and then, hey, in a couple months we'll have the alpha and in these things. So I'm excited for the gameplay to come out. Of course, the assets coming out are definitely important. I'm gonna hop out just a little bit because you touched on RuneScape. I'm a big RuneScape guy myself. We got a lot of gamers in the industry. What does bringing NFTs into gaming mean to you? Like just in a general sense, I want to get your guys' thoughts on NFTs finding their way to gaming.
Yeah, I think I've done a lot of thinking about this, and I think so RuneScape was my childhood, right? I grew up 56K internet. I used to have to wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning to get on servers that, when I was 9 or something, 8, to get on servers that actually had people playing in them from the Northern Hemisphere, right? From the States and stuff, because there's no one really playing in Australia. So I'd get up and I'd stuff a pillow over my computer to dull the sound of the modem connecting at 3 in the morning, so mum didn't hear me. And that, that sense of enchantment, particularly from RuneScape. And, when I say that, part of this, Lucian and I, who's another one of the founders, we were actually sitting watching the RuneScape documentary. If you haven't seen it, it's a sick watch. I don't know, a year or so ago. And that's really where the inspiration for a lot of this came. We were watching this documentary, watching the Gower brothers, and going, that is an incredible story, and it's an incredible thing. And for so many people, that's a really nostalgic and really important time in their lives. And then, fast forward, years pass, I got into crypto several years back, and that was sort of something that I was interested in. And then, I think aspects of that crypto, whatever that is, decentralization and ownership and all this stuff, it's cool, but it's pretty it's pretty sort of it's a bit, it's a bit boring, really. It's cool looking at charts and stuff, but when you can combine that, right, with what we all are actually passionate about in terms of NFTs and these things that really pull on our heartstrings, I think that's the perfect synthesis of these two things. And that's what got us really excited was, Lucian has been working, I don't know, in NFTs for over a year now, and he was just sort of just preaching to me, 12 months ago or whatever, trust me, we're doing this. And it was yeah, cool, let's go for it. But I think that's really what it is for us. We want to create something that is really fun to play, but also if it can bring back a little bit of that nostalgia, if it can touch on some of that stuff that, we love in terms of dark fantasy, and, I don't know if it's Diablo or Skyrim or whatever, but we take these influences and bring that for people. We're trying to make a game that we'd want to play, basically, and that's where it comes from. I was there's a bit of a hole there. I think we can do this. And that's where it comes for me. It's just, if we can bring RuneScape and we bring Diablo and bring all these things to the blockchain, then sick, because I want to be 9 again.
I really think a lot of people in the space actually can really connect with that, right? A lot of us who are doing this now, I think are doing it because of the fact that we were old enough to see web and internet really start to permeate, right? And we were old enough to remember how the people just didn't understand it, right? But like you said, you were how old, 8 or 9, yet you're connecting through your 56K modem, dude. I used to connect with a 14.4 to bulletin board systems at 2:00 in the morning. And when you remember that, this space just makes sense because the vibe is exactly the same. But I think as a gamer, what gets me really excited is not only the idea of getting in early, but getting in early enough that I can actually have a champion that I, like you guys said, can connect with, right? So I'm really interested in what are like some other features, what are some things that you guys are looking towards, implementing within your ecosystem, not necessarily, straight up gamification, but are there going to be factions? Is there, a way of grouping up? Is there eventually a 2v2 mode maybe that you might play with, or that idea of maybe running special tournaments where you get access for a limited time to run a couple of how do you, I guess, intend to keep this a fresh experience in the NFT space and keep that longevity?
Yeah, look, this is something, again, we've done a lot of thinking about, right? Like how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it exciting? And I think one of the cool things about fighting and about blood sports, right, is that they are going to be exciting. I think, forever. Like, who's ever going to get bored of that? If we can do something like, I don't know, bring Mortal Kombat to the blockchain, that'd be sick, right? And not saying that, that's the style of game we are, but that's, there is interest in that forever, I think. But one of the things that is really cool about the Red Village is the way we're building it is that it's very easy to expand, and it's very easy to find new things that are going to be really interesting and entertaining for people. So we look at other games, and they might only have one sort of style of character and one place that you can go, one thing that you can do. But where we're starting is in the Blood Theater. That's our first arena, and that's where you'll be fighting. We've got tournaments which can be up to 8 people. As Matan mentioned, 1 versus 1 until you have a last champion standing, and then we have one of the coolest mechanics I think going. It's called To the Death, and that's essentially where you put your champion up, you put him up for keeps, or put them up for keeps against another Battle Masters champion, and the winner takes both, and that's done over 5 rounds. And to make that super exciting, so you can literally walk away without your champion. Factions, touched on that. That's something that's really important to us, and that's one of the ways that we're actually building really great partnerships in the space as well, is saying, look, let's bring factions in from other NFT communities, give them a space, give them an arena, build something out in the Red Village sort of style guide that's going to look really cool, and allow them to take their faction and fight together. These can be big, these can be large scale. I don't know, you might have the MetaKrew fighting against BYO Pills in a faction fight, putting up their best fighters, going against each other, taking the props for that. And that's certainly something I think is going to be really, really well received, and it has been really well received. We've had a lot of people hitting us up on that, and I think that that's a really exciting approach as well. And then not to get into it, because this is our focus, right? This is what we're really spending our time perfecting, is this tournament fighting. But the beautiful thing about champions and the Red Village is that they can leave, right? Like champions, there's a village around them, and then the village exists in a world. And so what I'm doing at the moment when I write lore and stuff, and I'm working with someone who worked on Diablo and World of Warcraft and all this, when we're writing the lore, is creating it so that going forward, it is really easy for us to expand on it. Everything makes sense from day dot. We're making sure that everything is open enough that we can logically make sense of champions leaving the arena, leaving the village, whatever it is, if that's where we decide to go in the future. So there's just so many possibilities. But faction fighting, To the Death, and tournament fighting are going to be sick, and super stoked for them.
Yeah, I love the breakdown there, man. It really gave a good overview of what the Red Village is about and what you guys have going forward. I definitely got PTSD. My 9-year-old self can vividly remember crying in RuneScape when I would go into the wilderness and lose everything, lose all of my rune armor. And that was the worst experience of my life. But I love PvP because I also love doing that to other people. But guys, you have a great product here. Obviously, you talked about the whitelist. That is already closed, obviously. If you're on the whitelist, you are. But we can see that the public minting here starts in 23 hours. So what actually is going down with the whitelist? And so you have 5,000 that's ready to roll. You can't see the public minting there on the screen, but it does start in 23 hours and 27 minutes. Do you expect the whitelist to sell out completely? Is there going to be availability for people to get in afterwards, and how do they do so?
I think this might be a good chance, I think, as well, to touch on just how we manage this situation. Initially, we didn't really plan to do a whitelist. The way we looked at it is we thought it was, it was a way to create artificial hype that we didn't really want to do. But then, when we took to the community and we explained, our plans for the public sale itself, the reaction was, you guys should do a whitelist. So we did a vote on Discord. We had, it was an overwhelming majority that wanted a whitelist. So as soon as that vote was over, we basically said, all right, cool. Everyone that's on the Discord is on the whitelist. You guys have been here for a while. We've been having these great conversations. Everyone here is on the whitelist or into the whitelist raffle, I should say, because we only had a certain number of spots. So we had, people submit their wallet addresses. We used VRF to randomly choose on the blockchain, randomly choose who actually took those spots, which is why, I think Brennan touched on a lot of our friends didn't end up with a spot, and there really is not anything we could do about it. And so there's been a really good reaction. We do expect the whitelist to do quite well, but we've left, a decent amount, well over half for the public sale itself, which takes place tomorrow, 23.5 hours. So, jump into Discord, ask us any questions. We'd love to, have you involved in the community.
Awesome, man. Guys, I want to let you go here in just a moment, but I want to throw it out there to the community. If you guys have any questions, whether you're a part of the Red Village or if you're part of the Ladz City community or you're just here for the first time and you want to know what's going on, drop those questions in the chat. Otherwise, Ronan, I'll let you have the last question here before we let the guys go.
Yeah, so I think like the thing that I'm most interested in hearing a little bit about is, we talk about like this drop, it's going to be your pure bloods. Can you explain exactly what this summoning is really going to look like down the road? What happens when you're out of, pure bloods? What's the next wave? You guys mentioned 6 weeks. I don't know that like if Q or the audience caught that, but like 6 weeks out is how long we're looking before we actually see gameplay, which is amazing to me. A lot of these projects are like 6 months to 6 years, right? So being able to like look forward to that, like, so what does this look like? I know you guys have this drop coming on, and then you got another drop here in 6 weeks that correlates with the game. Could you give us a little more details about that?
For sure. So in terms of, that timeline, you're absolutely right. We couldn't turn a game around in 6 weeks. This is something that has been in development for a really long time. And it was important to us, from the get-go, from when we started this project, that, we hit our markers and that we were coming to the community with a product. We didn't want to come out and say, hey, buy our pictures, we're going to take that money and then we're going to go do something cool with it. We wanted to make sure that there was, things happening, so that we can, as I said, hit those timelines and make sure that, when you buy your champion, you can do something with it. You're not going to sit on it and hope that we create something. So yeah, that's right. So that 6 week timeline for the game, absolutely, it is it is soon. So we're working very hard in the background on the summoning point. So summoning, we didn't really touch on that element. Brennan, you might be able to speak to it a little bit better, but the idea of summoning is to, create your own character. You might be familiar from Zed with their breeding mechanic. It's a similar idea. You will be bringing together a couple of champions and creating what is hopefully a better champion. So the mechanic behind it, that's something that I've kind of been in charge of, is making sure that when you bring these champions together, the traits are hereditary. So you can create better champions. So certainly, the Genesis characters are going to start out and they're going to have, an edge, but that is something that can be passed down. And if you bring together the right characters, you can create what we're calling half-blood champions that may be more powerful than those Genesis ones. But, they'd be looking at that lineage to look at the Genesis champions to see, how they were performing, to see what that bloodline looks like. So the bloodlines will be really important. You'll be able to, look back and see what came together to create this champion, and then hopefully they'll have more value for the summoning aspect as well.
I love like the breakdown of like the gameplay, and then being able to like even further gamify the experience through the playing with the bloodlines and the attributes and the fighting and the learning and really like that's I think what gets like the really like huge like community of Zed run people like really excited. And for me, I think like as people start to learn what makes these things work, right, selecting the right attributes when you're going into the arena and having the right champion and that combination is so important. And I think that the experience is going to be an excellent one. So I'm really looking forward to it, guys, and we really appreciate you coming through. Llama in the chat asked the question: will there be a demo beta release for the game, or P2P arena mode or something? Sorry. Yeah, and I think that you guys
sure.
Right? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and probably one thing to touch on quickly, I guess, is that the trailer that we showed you there, we've actually filmed that in our game engine. So what you see there is actually, that is the Red Village. That is the arena. And that's, that's the approach that we chose to take with that trailer, was like, let's just like show off some of our assets. So yeah, and obviously we're not far out. Yeah, so that's the arena. That's where you'll be fighting. That's the first of many arenas, but that's the first arena there, and that's the Red Village. So I think that's pretty cool to see as well. But yeah, stay tuned for more on that.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. This has been a great interview, man. You guys really laid it down, gave a good overview. My last question, and I'm going to pull up my screen really quick, is next time you guys come on the channel and we have you here, can you wear these outfits for us? Because they look great, dude. You guys look awesome here.
Thanks, man. It was a good session with a photographer.
I see that. We need to get matching things like that, Ronan. But guys, Red Village was on here today. You guys, again, did a phenomenal job breaking down that the public mint here is about to go live. The whitelist is already live if you have been in that community, of course. We'll be following this game closely, guys. Hopefully we can collab in the future. Would love to be one of those partners there on the list.
Absolutely.
We'd love that.
We'll have us back anytime. We'd love to come back. It's great chatting to you both.
Absolutely.
Awesome, guys. Thanks,
guys.
Amazing. Thank you.
Cheers.
Boom. Dude, I always connect with a RuneScape player. Like if you played RuneScape, you are like my brother, no matter where, or sister, wherever you are in the world.
You're always connecting over RuneScape. That's like what is cool about gaming, and I think that's what's cool about the space that I think a lot of people like really vibe with, right? Is the fact that you can be part of this community, and then it's a community that you're probably going to be attached to forever. So yeah, you can vibe with a RuneScape. I can vibe with somebody who like got down on the original EverQuest. You know what I mean? So like it makes sense. Yeah. And then when you find that like thing to like that you both like can connect over, yeah, obviously. So that their team is awesome. They're all like, if nobody realized, like they're all very experienced in the gaming space, right? So they're bringing a lot of talent and a lot of history. So
gotcha. Love it, man. Love it. Yeah, I think they did a great job explaining it. I think they were saying also, Brendan was saying he's working with somebody from WoW on the lore. So definitely getting a little bit of good consulting there as far as that goes. But well, guys, we do have a whole nother part of the episode to get to. This is the NFT Weekly News, which is not going to be, I mean, it's jam-packed. It's not going to be short whatsoever. We always talk about shortening the episodes, and then it always somehow just gets long. So yeah, a lot of things happening. Bared Ape was definitely one of them we're going to touch on. We're going to touch on some personal corner stuff. Wax. You guys have been itching to get us to talk about Wax for a long time. But yeah, we'll hop into the weekly news. The first one we are going to touch on is the Wanderers. We're going to roll right into a quick trailer for the Wanderers and then touch on that project and then get to everything that's been happening. So let's play that trailer.
It's so cool.
Sirius was the first star to die, as if God, if there was a God, had placed his fingers over a candle's flame and snuffed it out. Procyon followed a year later. Then Proxima Centauri. The night sky over the 16 Alliance planets felt timid and dim. The Elders called for the return of the Warp Squad 16, an elite band of explorers and peacekeepers, one representative chosen from each Alliance planet. Their influence and infamy spread far beyond controlled territory. The pilots returned from their individual missions across the galaxy, from the midst of endless and chaotic wars, from explorations into the lost races, unforgotten planets, and from places more exotic than can be imagined. The eldest explained to Warp Squad 16 that their stars were dying, that they were extinguishing in a pattern like a spiraled fuse, gradually heading inwards towards Alliance territory. Leuten would be the next star to fall, if the pattern of this galactic plague held true. And after that, their own star would fall cold. The pilots agreed to travel to Leuten to find out what was causing the death of the stars, and if possible, to stop it. They requested only small compensation in return. The 16 ships launched together for the first time in many years. Warp engines blazing a trail of blue through the inky blackness. Time and space stretched onwards like putty as the pilots slept beneath domed ceilings. Not dead, but their hearts not beating.
Alert. Escape velocity undeliverable. Alert.
Anyone else awake? And if so, can you tell me what the hell I'm looking at? I think we found what's killing the stars.
A black hole? It's artificial. A wormhole. And I don't think it's killing them exactly. It's stealing them, isn't it?
No luck sending a transmission back to the Alliance. This thing's hungry as all hell and sucking everything down its gullet.
Someone or something created this. It's artificial and on a set trajectory. How do we stop it? If we can't turn around, then there's only one way left to go.
Through it. We find what created it, what's powering it, and then we shut it off.
Think we'll make it through it?
We don't have any choice but to try. Maybe I'll see you all on the other side.
It was the 15th of August, the day Warp Squad 16 vanished from the universe. The wormhole chewing and slicing them up, fractionalizing them into 8,888 pilots. It was the 15th of August, the day Warp Squad 16 died. The day the Wanderers were born.
That was like a movie.
Dude, that was amazing. I mean, the artwork was like on point. Like you're talking about like some really deep and like awesome, like, lore that's happening there. We get the story about like how you end up with 8,888 of these people, right? As a Wanderers holder, as somebody who's like really tied into like what they're doing, man, this is what I hope like a lot of these projects become, right? Like this is becoming an experience. It's becoming, a story that you're part of, right? And then you get to kind of see unfold as this experience plays out. So, dude, I'm stoked about this one. I don't even know what else to say. It's awesome. And the Planet Pass, like the Planet Pass looks really, really cool. I'm really interested in how like they're going to play like into the Planet Pass, into the experience, and then also the lore, right? Because this is really interesting now. Like, are they going and, like all I know is like you get to visit planets. Everyone gets a planet who has a current wanderer. You can set like prices to visit your planet, right? So there's a lot of gamification, a lot of like really deep layers to the experience that is like the Wanderers NFT. And I think that this is something that personally I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully some really cool copycats come along, because I think that this is what we need to see, right? Like more experiences that are just full blown. This whole thing is happening and you get to be a part of it from the ground up.
Yeah, they're really doing a great job building out the lore here. Shout out to the team there. We'll give a quick shout out there. Also to the roadmap as they see it there on their website. So yeah, big shout out to the Wanderers. Not a project that I'm in personally, but Rona, you've been talking about them for a minute. So it's cool to see them build out the lore that in depth, man. When you get like quality there, it definitely is a treat for the community. So all right, we will touch on the next story. It's tough to know where the hell to start with Bared Ape Yacht Club. There's been like an avalanche of information, but really what's happening is like NFTs are actually like permeating pop culture. And this is the first time that I've seen this happen. So we have, I don't know, Buff, if we have the music kind of lined up, but we do. So we'll play a little bit of that music and we'll kind of like line it up with this beginning of the video. But basically Post Malone had one of his like main singles right now with The Weeknd, and at the beginning and this is right at the beginning that we could tie up, they had Bored Apes in the actual music video. So we can roll it here, see if we can do that. So that was the start of the music video. It don't get copyrighted or anything, and I love that song, by the way. But basically, we had right at the beginning of one of the biggest singles in the world right now, we had Post Malone coming out, and oh, by the way, it's his profile picture. So really permeating pop culture. Bored Apes going a long way to kind of throw us into the limelight a little bit, man. And that's really the one story of many, like 4 or 5 different stories here that is hitting Bored Apes right now. I've got a ton of them lined up, Ronan. I don't know which one you want me to hit next, but do you have any that stuck out in your mind over the past week?
Man. Where do you start with that, dude? I think this is actually like that tipping point, right? Like a lot of people are talking about, have been talking about whether or not the apes can flip the punks, right? When you have a moment like this, and this is where we talked about, it really comes into play that they're building a brand, right? That's trying to cross the gap and trying to blend, right, that line between like the metaverse and the everyday life. So when you have something like this taking place, he's buying his ape. Now his ape is his profile photo. People are going to start to really understand a little bit more like what this means, right, for the future and why NFTs matter and why they should matter. Look, I'm really interested in this one. Some other news that came out was who else? Jimmy Fallon joined the club, right? So like Jimmy Fallon, has obviously picked up an ape, and a lot of people feel like that was kind of the beginning because it was like the Jimmy Fallon news. Then it was the rumors about Post Malone. Then it was Post Malone. You also have, it's just hit after hit, right? And then you have the fact that they're creating Kingship. Kingship is an ape like band in the metaverse. It's going to be 4 or 5 apes. They were all purchased, I think, from Jimmy ETH. All those apes are in a metaverse band, right? It's very much like Skullgirls, where like the bandmates will be these ape personas, right? So it's gorillas that are like already out there and part of a club. So imagine like what that means to be in the membership of like, hey, I'm in the same club as like Kingship, right? Like I'm in the same like spots as Post Malone. You see projects like Cogs, right? Like Cogs bought themselves an ape. They're throwing apes on like the Cogs. So now it's crossing the lines of gaming. It's crossing the lines of music. It's crossing the lines of like other NFT projects, right? It's permeating everything, man. So, shout out to the Bored Apes and the guys who are like making these types of deals happen, right? Because this whole thing was facilitated. Like you can see it playing out on Twitter. Like they talk about it, like, Jimmy's talking to MoonPay, and MoonPay's like, we've got somebody who's buying this ape, and like we want you to sell it, and we want it to go through MoonPay. Why does it got to go through MoonPay? Well, we weren't really sure. Now we know, because MoonPay had a deal, right, to work it out with Post Malone to be in the video. So now like you've got the marketing play that comes into that. There's just so many layers, right? And now like, what does that mean for somebody who owns an ape that like, Post Malone owned? And before that was Jimmy, right? Like we talk about provenance and the fact that that people really need to lean into like who owned it and all these other things, right? And then this is a great one, like you talked about, like Ape in Productions, Timbaland.
It's basically just like all of pop culture getting in at one time. We see a lot of NBA, fans. You see a lot, or NBA stars. You see NFL getting involved. I mean, it is what it is, and this is the start of a lot for Bored Ape Yacht Club. I mean, you got the token. There's a lot more things on the roadmap. Just like touching on one quick thing here, they also had, I believe, the super rare art. Obviously, the Rolling Stones hit. These went for like 40 to 60 ETH, I believe. So this one with the Bored Ape, and then the other one with the Mutant Ape went for about, let's see if we can't get the final here, Ronan. Final for 100 ETH. So that was 100 ETH here. And then we also had another piece with the Mutant Ape Yacht Club and Rolling Stone. I believe there was a game that was essentially coming out as well. Let me see if I could touch on this really quick. We can pull this up. So this was a game. This is, again, from their Twitter profile, and you can see that there's a little bit of mutant ape action. I'll let this play for a little bit, but it'll be a mini game that you can essentially earn rewards by playing, and see who we can kind of get on this game real quick.
Yep, and that's like mobile. So like this is gonna be everywhere. You know, like we just announced today with Gig Labs, we're dropping a mobile game. You know, we're part of a mobile game coming out tomorrow called Block Leads. It's a golfing game where it's play to earn, right? And it's backed by NFT. So like this is gonna be 2022. We talked about it 2-3 months ago. Like 2022 is definitely, I think, going to be super heavy for gaming as far as NFTs are concerned. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of the growth and adoption.
Yep. The last piece I want to pull up here, as it's related to adoption of again, Bored Apes, is this ape in production. There is a mint going on right now. This is Timbaland's production label, right? Correct, Ronan? And then we also have that song that we played at the beginning of the episode that can be played now as well. But yeah, this is just more Bored Ape good news, I guess.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. I made sure I picked up the track because I think that like this is something that you can't, like it's the beginning, right? Like it's the merging of like culture and NFTs and music and artists and all these other things, right? So like what's going on right now, I think we should all be glad like we're a part of it, and it's like super early and we're able to like have these conversations every week and talk about like these huge stories. So shout out to like what they're doing with that, man, and I'm glad to be a part of the Bared Ape Yacht Club, dude. I don't think I'll ever not have 2 apes. We've had a conversation about that earlier. It's just something that you always want to be kind of like there, because I don't feel like this is even the tip of the iceberg with what they can do with that brand and their NFT experience.
Yeah, again, token coming out Q1 or Q2 of 2022 as well. I'm going to end here with the Bored Ape news on kind of a bad note. It kind of flows into the drama that's happening in the NFT space right now. And if you got some drama, please drop it in the chat. We do have some other comments that we'll get to related to Bored Ape as well. But Little Ape, or Little Baby Ape Club, Ronan, I don't know if you saw this happen, but this was essentially a derivative project of like, I believe 3,000 of these apes. But this kind of like got waves because of the different properties that were involved, including like a skinhead. I think people were commenting on like the German, I believe like the suspenders there, monkey pride there. So there was a lot of like weird properties that were associated, potentially racist properties that were associated. And this kind of like blew up overnight. The Little Ape Baby Club as well was, I mean, you could see the activity here. It's one of the more active projects here in the space right now. There were some claims that this was actually stolen from another group as well. You can see that it's well above mint price here as well. I don't know exactly what that mint price was, but I believe it was like 0.02. So it's, yeah, sitting around there. So yeah, Little Baby Ape Club here took a lot of heat. A lot of people were upset, of course, rightfully so. But I don't know if you've got anything to talk about, or you guys in the chat have anything to touch on here. But yeah, definitely the start of some drama here in the NFT space, man.
That's crazy, man. And like to all that to happen overnight, like you can't sleep, man. I knew there was a little something there with this Little Baby thing, and I knew that it had blown up, but like seeing all this happen is crazy, dude. But anyway, I think we could
it's a tough landscape. We'll get to some of your comments here in a second, guys. It's definitely down from even 22 hours ago. You can see the floor price at 0.5. Now it's around 0.1. So definitely seeing a little bit of backlash there, but this is a little bit more of the drama that I wanted to touch on. There's a good story here and a bad story here. So the bad news is, and we've had these guys on the channel here before, Personal Corner, that project for athletes and getting athletes into the space with the NFTs and all the utilization there, put out an announcement yesterday. And the announcement was that, Money Mac is not going to be associated with Personal Corner anymore. It was definitely heavily laced with like a lot of allegations. So that was a bit more drama in the NFT space. Continues to go on and on there. You can take a look at it there in the description if you want to get a full look. But yeah, Money Mac not going to be a part of Personal Corner. Of course, Dez is going to lead that up. The good news, though, and a really dope story that I wanted to touch on, Ronan, was Personal Corner actually bought up Real Shark Cove. which I think is really dope. This is like a merger and acquisition, essentially. So you can see Personal Corner has acquired majority stake of Real Shark Cove. And so basically Real Shark Cove and Personal Corner communities are going to combine. God knows what that means. Obviously, that's super complex. But at the same time, seeing a merger and acquisition in the NFT space, it gets my noggin kind of spinning a little bit, man. I like seeing it.
Yeah, this is like a play that I think that we are definitely going to see more of. We're going to see a lot of like communities that, are having maybe a little tough time like keeping their brand fresh, definitely merging and cooperating and collaborating with other communities. So, look, whether you like it or not, I think that like the attention that Personal Corner brings and the fact that they're bringing in some athletes is definitely a plus. We'll continue to talk about the conversation and look at what's going on. Shout out to Rumble Kong League. I see you, YJ3. I wish I would have gotten in, man. The merch for Rumble Kong League was fire, dude. And you know me, I like merch. So.
All right, we're going to hit the next piece here, but I do want to hit some comments. Xplow saying BAYC cogs. We'll touch on that here in a second as we get to Wax. Valerius is saying actually bananas, still can't believe it, talking about the Post Malone and the Timbaland news there. Mugnami saying OVOT, and then No Point in Names is saying this drama had it all, racism, theft, rug from dev, pumping, dumping. Yeah, it's been that type of week here in the NFT space. It's been craziness. So I guess we'll touch on the next piece a little bit of more bad news. I don't know. What do we got here, Runner?
I don't know if I would say bad when you're talking about like this stuff in the context of bad. I would just say probably sad news for a lot of people. Artifact decided that they are going to delay the launch of CloneX. I don't know if you are a valid NFT project if you don't have at least one delay in your roadmap and your and whether that's a 5-minute delay, an hour delay on your launch, or a week delay, like in this case. Obviously, there's some issues when it comes to making sure the quality is there when they're running these algorithms. You run into some issues. Like one thing that they pointed out is they don't want to have like these what they call identical twins, right? This is actually the post right there, Q, where they are using AI to identify where you can see here, like they look almost exactly identical, but there's one trait that's different that maybe you're not seeing, like the background tone, or maybe it's an earring, right? And that one, there's earrings, there's no earrings. So they've got this AI that's helping them avoid these situations. So when you have a project this complex, I think that you can expect a delay or two. But look, it's okay. It'll be all right. You still have the same amount of like time if you're getting in early, if you hold an artifact piece or a meta key that is involved or any other NFT that gets you early access. And then outside of that, good luck with public, because that's where I'll be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna definitely be on secondary here, probably buying from somebody else. I just don't like the gas situation here that is likely going to arise. So, but yeah, shout out to Artifact. Shout out to those ramen noodles, man. Those look good too. But we've been following them for a little while now. As you can see, they said been working nonstop for 5 months on CloneX. It's obviously going to pay off for them in the end. Of course, this is going to sell out. But yeah, it definitely is sad to see another delay. But yeah, agreed. There's always... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and one thing, like just to throw it out there, man, those guys are gonna come through the show. They're gonna have a conversation with us about the project CloneX. Maybe we'll get some alpha from them, but they do want to make sure that the drop is behind them. So the current tentative date is the 30th that we're chatting with Artifact. I think that'll be a really good conversation, and you're gonna want to be here for sure.
Xpaw just threw out some fighting words, Ronan. Xpaw just, and it's on the screen right now.
I don't know.
Metaverse 2.0.
I don't know. Like, if maybe we should say like Metaverse is like Yeti's 2.0, and CloneX hopefully doesn't get associated with either.
Does that mean CloneX is Yeti's 3.0? Is that what's happening?
I like the team at Artifact, and I think like the stuff they do is really dope, and I think that they're really tied into like a lot of cool projects. I think like long term, this project is going to be dope regardless. But you got to get their art right, and shout out to them for delaying it to make sure they do it correctly. Rectiverse.
Yeah.
What do you got next, Q?
I do have MetaKrew NFT avatar. So this is associated with the MetaKey drop. There's like a NASA partnership in here that was kind of buried. But this is going to be launched on November 18th. Obviously, I think it has a lot of utility for the MetaKey holders, but they're available, I believe, to the public as well. There's going to be some Decentraland airdrops if you own the MetaKrew, but essentially this is just Maddie and the MetaKrew team dropping PFPs, 3D versions, of course, that can be utilized in 3D environments. So just a quick piece there. If you do own a MetaKrew, congrats to you. That is looking like it's doing really well. And then if you want to get involved in that ecosystem, MetaKrew launching November 18th. That is 2 days from now. So quick piece of news there. And then we have a sellout run and what's going on with Ballers.
Yeah, so shout out to the Ballers team who we did have come through NFT Live. We've had a really good working relationship with those guys. They sold out, man, and this team is really picking up that steam. Shout out to Genius NFT. You guys are doing excellent stuff. I think Ballers is like one of these projects that was really under the radar for a lot of people, including, you know, myself, even though they were on the network. But just the way it's been adopted and the way people have really taken it on and they're flashing their ballers, they're retweeting, they're tweeting, the Discord is super, super active. This is one of those things that's like the community sees it, they see like the value in it and they jump in and they support it really quick. So, we just wanted to make sure we take a second to say shout out to those guys. They came through the show. We're really glad that the sale went well. You guys sold out. We're looking forward to what comes next for Ballers and other NFT projects on the Flow ecosystem.
That is a dope transition because we have Flow getting integrated into Rarible. Yeah, I'm probably months out from actually using Rarible on like a consistent basis, but I like the ethos of being interoperable, right? Like I just love the idea that Rarible is going about and saying we're going to have a wallet that connects to all of these different ones down the road. I know that's a little bit of a pie in the sky piece right now where you have wallets on all of these different blockchains, but eventually we will have a wallet for that integrates all separate chains into one. I talked with the Rarible team on the Nifty Q show, and that was kind of their ethos. And a week later, they announced this integration here with Dapper Labs' Flow blockchain. So basically, you can be on Rarible, you can be trading Flow assets. But again, I'm just going to need to see more from the Flow ecosystem as far as like being able to get into those projects. I just haven't made my way. I'm on Solana here running, so big into Solana projects at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk a little bit about Flow, and I don't even know if like we really like went through everything, but I think Friday we're actually Gig Labs are dropping a drop on Flow. There's gonna be a lot of details coming out there, but we're also gonna come through and chat a little bit with you guys about that drop. And I think that like, look, when it comes to the ecosystem as a whole, it was like this walled garden for a really long time. And I feel like those walls, like Dapper just like let them just crumble over the last 6 weeks. They've allowed a lot more developers into the ecosystem. There's a lot of like projects that are launching like this, Ballers, that's on its own website, that's its own ecosystem, that is helping expand the Flow marketplace, right? They're actually launching on Gaia, which I think is also a part of that news story that a lot of people missed out, right? So they're launching on Gaia. You'll be able to like have access there for NFTs and play to earn moving forward. So there's a lot of stuff coming for the ecosystem as a whole. I think Flow is really positioned well, just like Wax, you know what I mean? Like, and the partnerships will continue to like really help, I think, the value of those blockchains.
We're pumping Wax today, and I freaking love it. And Xpile loves it. We will get into Wax here in a second. 2 other like really quick pieces of news that we'll touch on. I guess, do you want to hit MiamiCoin, and then I will hit this Decentraland news, which was pretty big. But let's hit on MiamiCoin. This is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, and it's super, super straightforward. Look, the city of Miami is basically going to be sharing their Bitcoin yield with its citizens. Every citizen will set up a wallet, a crypto wallet, and then they will get a piece of the Bitcoin yield. And I think it's set for like every 60 days maybe, or maybe every 30 days if somebody's got that, and maybe it's in the article. I know I've read it, but it's been like 2 hours. But look, shout out again to Miami for being another city or for being kind of like a leader to other cities in adoption of Bitcoin and crypto. I think that like they're really showing what where the value can be, right? And to see this is really exciting as somebody who really believes in crypto and the ability to change lives on a daily basis. So that's
it's a little bit outside. It's a little bit outside of the NFT ecosystem, right? But it's like large scale adoption is being seen on like a scale we haven't absolutely like, we didn't think this would happen for another year or two, but Miami's taking it by the horns for sure.
Exactly.
So real quick, this is another type of like, geographic location getting involved. I've got Barbados getting into the metaverse. Buff, I want to get your take on this as well. But we have Barbados to establish sovereign territory in the metaverse. This comes from NFT Plazas here. But according to sources, Barbados sees the metaverse as the next frontier, and they are going to set up essentially like a sovereign territory in Decentraland and partner with them to launch like an embassy in that virtual world. So it's one of the first times we've seen a country and a territory actually getting involved in any formal process in the metaverse. But this is life now. This is real life, and this is where we're at. But Buff, what do you make of Barbados and all this metaverse talk that's happening over the last month, 2 months?
It's the Zuckerberg effect. No, I'm just playing. Man, the metaverse is coming, and the projects that are emerging in this space right now. This is next level. This is in real life moving into the virtual worlds of the metaverse, and I can see not only countries starting to have a certain location in certain Decentralands or CryptoVoxels or the Sandbox, but I can see an Amazon location where you go and actually order walking in like that. Man, this is just the beginning of we're headed there. This is the next wave. So put your helmets on, boys. It's time to go in.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the long-term plan for experiences like we were about to talk about Wax, like experiences like what RFox is doing with their metaverse, right? Like they're specifically wanting you to have a place that you can go and you can shop in the metaverse. You can purchase things that not only you get to wear in the metaverse, but maybe you get to cash in those tokens and you get a physical delivered to your doorstep. So it's going to be, a blend of physical and digital, I think, as we continue to see this play out in these experiences.
I think you're exactly right. We're going to touch on Wax here. We have had so many comments come through about what Wax is doing, mainly from XPOW, but we've had a lot of others come in and talk about this. We had an awesome tweet thread from Any Observation that I think you commented on, Ronan, that I'll pull up here. Basically, the fact that, and we have been long supporters of Wax. When we first started NFT Live, I think the first episode covered Wax. Like we were deep in the Wax ecosystem, have since kind of moved away, but there's still a lot going on. Anders Bjork, or aka Any Observation, did a great job of breaking down what's happening on the Play to Earn ecosystem on Wax. Wax is up 2,000% over the last, I would say, it's a year on CoinGecko, so doing super well, almost touching that dollar mark. People are obviously earning a ton. I mean, $30,000 a day. I don't know what the numbers are now. This was about a week ago. But this is ridiculous, like on another level, like cartel kingpin type of money here, 30,000 a day. There's a lot of different projects on Wax to look at, Alien Worlds being one of them. Those are OGs, Farmer's World, Splinterlands, Farming Tales. There's just a lot going on in the Wax ecosystem, man, and we wanted to highlight it. Of course, RFox, they're doing some cool things we'll touch on. But what are your thoughts, man, on Wax as a whole right now? We wanted to give them their shine, of course. What are your thoughts on Wax?
They are a very targeted missile. Like Wax, I think, is really trying to look at gamers. They're trying to, find a adoption where gamers live and through gaming type of experiences. They're trying to catch those type of collectors. We saw that today with the drop of Hot Wheels, right? That sold out and did really well. You can see it there. I think that we continue to see that 80s, 90s nostalgia, like find a home on Wax. And then I think that you also start to see some games start to incorporate the Wax ecosystem to have access to cheap NFTs for their experience. So it's going to be a good one, man. I'm really looking forward to what Wax has to offer. And I think that seeing how it plays out is going to be really interesting over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'd love them to build out like the more of the DeFi ecosystem. I know, and again, like there's a lot of Wax enthusiasts in the chat. We want you to drop some info and alpha for people watching. The DeFi ecosystem, definitely with like different DeFi applications. I know that's not like the target audience. Like you said, it's NFT heavy, but I think that can just build out a little bit more and maybe get more Ethereum people interested in the product. So if there's some DeFi applications being built on Wax, drop them. Clearly, there's NFT projects that also have DeFi involved, but I'd love to see that ecosystem being built out. got Dap Radar pulled up on the screen. I also have RFox and what they're doing with their Mint Lab that I want to touch on here in a second. But yeah, here's the top collections here on Wax right now. All the projects we kind of talked about there. Want to touch on the Mint Lab. Ronan, have you looked at this Mint Lab at all with your Bored Apes?
A little bit. I didn't do like some deep research. I think we touched on it when they first like launched the news that you can do this. Essentially, being able to kind of go in and create your own cog for that experience, and then like basically, I believe you can even monetize that cog, which is kind of cool. I actually just got an email from what's the toy one? Oh, shit, Terra Virtue. Apparently they're making a Terra Virtue toy out of my ape. And because of that, like they'll sell versions of it in their marketplace. And because I own that ape, I will get royalties off of those sales. So like, that's the future of being like a holder of these PFPs that you put a little time and effort into, right? Like people ask like, what else do you do with these things? Well, you can monetize them, right? Like I'm literally going to have a little like, you know, metaverse toy made of my ape that if people like it enough, like they'll buy it, right? And I'll get a percentage. So
yeah, so the COGS ecosystem is really vast. You know, they're doing a lot of things with RFox. They're doing a lot of things with the Vault, like you talked about. But this gives a great kind of rundown of what they're doing here. Love this idea as well. We just talked about trying to get Ethereum people into the Wax ecosystem. What better way than using an Ethereum PFP and being able to mint each month, Ronan? So actually, you can mint here, and then you can actually sell these, and these are going for, I think, multiples of what they're being minted for at the current rate. So yeah, monthly you'll be able to mint these different Bored Ape cogs. You'll be able to use them, and then actually 50% of the fee here goes to buying floor cogs on the market. So there's a little bit of gamification there from the team. And then Xbox coming through saying Slam game coming by the end of the month or earlier. Game submitted for Apple and Android approval, which I'm sure will be a big boon for that ecosystem as well. So just wanted to give the Wax shout out, man. We love Wax. We don't want it to make it seem like we're just like not giving Wax their shine. But yeah, we'd love to see this ecosystem continue to grow. Wax doing a lot of cool things. If you're holding Wax for a year, doing extremely well.
Shout out to you. I could not hold that long. Dude, it's been a crazy week in NFTs. It's been tough to keep up with it, man. But I think that like we did a decent job today. We had excellent guests on, man. That project, Red Village, is looking super dope. Again, if you guys enjoyed the content, a quick thumbs up. That goes a really long way. And if you really enjoyed it, hitting that subscribe button goes even further. You won't miss any more of the content. You'll be able to jump in on our new shows, right? You'll be able to jump in on our current content. You can catch us on Friday, every Tuesday, every Friday, NFT Live. Yeah, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you guys so much. You got anything before we say goodbye, Q?
I want my Bored Ape Yacht Club like black hat, man. I feel like a lesser citizen when you come on here and you're rocking that, man. But no, man, I love these episodes.
Does your ape have a black hat? No,
it doesn't. But I have bunny ears and bubblegum.
You do have hey, the bubblegum's dope, man. You could do something with that. But I love it.
Yeah. Guys, we're continuously building out the network. Thank you so much for showing up to NFT Live today. YJ3 is in the house saying BAYC branded tequila on the way. Please get that to us. We would love to. I'll drink that on stream. I don't know if we get banned for that, but I will drink that on stream. So I'll let Ronan take us out here.
I don't want to get banned, so I'm going to just go ahead and say we're heading out, guys. We appreciate you so much. That's our vibe, our tribe.
Peace.